Well, Medicine Park sits in the foothills of the Wichita Mountains, which is home to our nation's oldest buffalo refuge. Inside, you'll find hundreds of the giant beasts that give testament to over a century of conservation. Joining me now with more is our Betty O'Michaels.
Rob, while auctioning off buffalo to the highest bidder may not sound like a conservation tool, it actually is. Held the fourth Thursday every October, this annual event helps maintain the overall health of the herd, and we were there as the century-old tradition unfolded. Think of it as a necessary reality in the world of conservation.
The bison auction is the tool that we use to manage the bison herd on the refuge. The refuge only has a certain carrying capacity that we monitor, and so that the animals don't outstrip the resource, we have to essentially cull the herd every year.
Jeff Rupert spends his days overseeing the daily activities of the refuge.
So we're selling calves, young adults, and old adults, and sort of everything in between.
35 and 55 on your adult cows. Number 35, she's going to weigh 890 pounds.
Buyers travel near and far, enduring the cold to get in on the action.
There are professional commercial bison ranchers here, and they're looking for animals for their existing herds. There are people here who are thinking about managing bison for the first time, and 9 out of 10 of them will 2 months from now decide that they made a poor choice. And then there are folks here who will buy an animal, take it to the slaughterhouse, and fill up their freezer. So it's really a diverse group.
When it comes to deciding which animals stay and which don't,
we make cull decisions based on the sex ratio of the herd. We manage the herd for a natural, even age distribution.
But this auction wouldn't be as successful if there wasn't demand for buffalo meat.
The bison market has really expanded over the last, several decades, and actually it's a pretty healthy meat market now. Bison's recognized as pretty healthy meat, low in fat, low in cholesterol.
And ironically, that's a good thing for the animal's survival. Asked what would happen without any population control, Jeff says,
quite frankly, they would eat themselves out of house and home. It's really quite simple. Well, the refuge is 59,020 acres, which sounds like a lot, and it is. It's nearly 24 square miles, and it's a large tract of land. However, when you start doing things like managing herds of bison and elk, 60,000 acres suddenly, 59,000 acres suddenly isn't as big as it seems, and it's not a limitless area.
But it is large enough to support 650 buffalo that live much like their ancestors did.
We're not in the business of raising bison. I mean, this isn't a commercial operation.
Jeff maintains outside of the yearly auction, the grazing animals are left alone to live out their lives on the grasslands that sit below the Wichita Mountains. So while the auction may be used as a conservation tool, it's also a chance to get an up-close look at one of America's most iconic animals.
Oh, you bet. It's, I think it's a bit of an event. I mean, it's not every day that you can go out and watch a bison auction and get as close to an animal like an American bison as you can here. And so, yeah, it's kind of exciting. I mean, they're not domestic animals, and anyone who thinks of them as domestic animals is making a mistake. I mean, they're wild animals, and it's a rare opportunity to see them as close as you can during this auction.
Believe it or not, the herds you just saw in that story all descended from 15 buffalo that were brought to the refuge from New York in 1907. At that time, the buffalo were in danger of extinction, but through the work of biologists and conservationists at the refuge, their numbers are growing and they're making a comeback.
So does that mean this iconic animal is actually off the extinction hot seat?
Well, they're not in danger of becoming physically extinct, but they are in danger of becoming genetically extinct because so many of today's buffalo throughout the United States all descend from a very small group of animals.
All right, quite interesting. Thank you, Betty.